Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the SARG Superspeedway NS Service Playoffs. This is the final race of the season, and we're excited to give you all the action here today. We started with 12 drivers during the playoffs for 4 races. It was all about who could get the most points. Lucas Cram coming into today's evening with a 13-point lead over Brandon Hoff, then a 19-point lead over Nick Olson, and a 38-point lead over Connor Horn. Those are the 4 drivers that are going to be hunting for a championship. Everyone else mathematically out of contention. Excited to see the action. My name is Sam Dyer. With me here today is going to be Michael Norman. Michael, drivers getting ready for 80 laps here in the Legacy Daytona race, and it's going to be a wild one here because the drivers are going to be dealing with a lot more space like we've been seeing at Talladega.
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head there. A bumpier surface. This is before the repave of 2011. So the track's going to be bumping. It's going to feel almost like Auto Club out there. And we all know how Auto Club feels in terms of bumpiness. So I can't really see these drivers being able to lock bumpers and push as often without them getting so loose or even spinning, because of just even the flat part of the super stretch back there is still freaking bumpy. So it's going to make for some interesting racing.
It's going to be a wild one for sure. Like we said, it's about the most points you can get for these 4 races that they've been racing. This is the final race. It's the finale at Daytona 08-200. Lucas Cram going to be your pole sitter for today's race, getting himself a bonus point. And Lucas Cram at the moment really just going for trying to get as many points as possible and just trying to keep himself within a bubble of probably about 2 to 3 positions just to feel a little bit safer compared to the other competitors he's racing against.
That's right. I mean, Lucas he doesn't really have to, as long as he doesn't finish outside the top 20, I think he's pretty much got this locked up. But this is Daytona and anything can happen.
Really, anything can happen, like you said, and it was been a wild playoff so far. Lucas Cram won the first race of the playoffs. Then it was going to be Nick Olson, that won the first race of the season. Then it was Lucas Cram, and then Brandon Hoff won last week. Here today, really, it could be a wild card of who's going to get it done as the drivers are gridded up and getting ready for the race. As the drivers are rolling around, we're going to take a quick look at what the grid looks like. Like we said, Lucas Cram getting the pole position. Nick Olson in the 24 machine going to be getting second place. In our second row, Brandon Hoff, Clint Spillman, more playoff drivers that you're seeing here. In row number 2, row number 3 is going to be Gerald Darling, Robbie Lyons, and then back in the 7th and 8th place, you got Ben Mcdonald and also Alex Bell for 9th and 10th place. Derek Newsom, who's come back to be racing this week after missing last week. And also you've got Jacob Locklear. The rest of the grid order will continue to go on. But Michael, this race, 80 laps. We've got the stage break at the end of lap 40 for these drivers, and stage points still going to be implemented here today. That's going to be something to keep our eyes on as the drivers get ready to go green.
Absolutely. You think it's going to be wild just from the plain old racing, but when it comes down to that stage break, we're going to have the caution flags going to come out. So we're going to have a wild run to the finish because only the top 10 get the point standings. As I want to point out, we do already have a blinker in the field right now, and that's Ben Mcdonald in the 16 machine, kind of just blinking in and out there. So they're going to have to keep an eye on him as they're heading already off into turn 2. Those grit guys taking over the front 3 spots.
It's going to be Lucas Cram, Brandon Hoff, and Nick Olson. Those drivers, you talked about McDonald having his issues. Looks like he's going to drop to the bottom and going to be going to the back of the field. Just going to wait until he can make him charge, and hopefully his internet can come to him. But leaving that outside charge, that's going to be where we've seen Nick Olson. And Olson's looking quick to win here, but we've raced here at the Legacy track before. As coming out of turn number 4, it's looking like Lucas Cram going to be getting another bonus point of a lap led. And I think right now Lucas Cram in the mentality of let's take as many bonus points as possible away from everyone else so they don't have a chance to try to sneak their way past our points leader at the moment.
Absolutely, and with the cars behind him, he doesn't have to really worry about getting freight trained because he's got, I'm assuming those are all his teammates right behind him, maybe not. At least one of them might be, but then just as I say that, here comes the 9 machine, going to move to the outside and possibly take the lead here. That's Brandon Houth in the number 9 machine, a playoff driver. I don't think he's in contention.
No, he is in contention. He's the driver that won last week. Second in points is Brandon Hoff, 13 points back. Then you got Nick Olson, also one of those grit guys leading the outside lane. He's third in points, 19 points back. And all the drivers are really trying to see and hope that Lucas Cram falls back and finishes back behind everyone else. But Brandon Hoff going to be leading that lap, a bonus point for the 9 machine now.
Absolutely. I got to go back and look at my notes. I was thinking of somebody else. That's why I said that. But yeah, he takes the lead now. He's going to get bonus points for leading that lap, but it's not going to do him much good if the 44 finishes right behind him.
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to get as many bonus points as possible. So a lap leading the most lap is going to be 3 bonus points. And you're really trying to just keep on adding them on. And then also we got to talk about stage break. Only the top 10 drivers get bonus points. If you win the stage, you get 10 points there. And I think really right now, the driver that's going to keep our eye on, that's going to be charging up to the front at some point, it's probably most likely going to be Nick Olson or Brandon Hoff that's going to be trying to go for a win and hoping to see the 44 of Lucas Cram, who's on the outside, making a charge now and trying to make sure that Lucas Cram finishes outside of the top 10. Doesn't get a point as they're going to be shuffling in the back, and I believe that's going to be Park who's getting out of shape as they continue to be shuffling in the back. That's actually going to be Brett Murphy. That was that driver that got out of shape and continue to move on. And then you've got ourselves now 2 packs of machines that are taking off, but also it's going to be, I believe, Jones that might have had issues back there trying to get going.
That was a great save, by the way. He got real out of shape going into turn 1. And
that was actually Locklear. That was going to be Jacob Locklear. That was the one that initially got completely sideways. That Brett Murphy was kind of collected in that as the drivers up front. Still side by side, Brandon Hoff going to be leading that lap.
Got one driver who's fallen so far back, he might be in danger of going a lap down in the next couple of laps here. That's Kobe Wells in the 45 machine.
Kobe Wells right now started on pit road and now going to be making a charge forward, and you really don't want to be one of those drivers that starts on pit road, but right now an issue for the 41 machine. But we've seen Wells have this issue before we started on pit road and actually finished in our top 5. So it's not over yet if we see an early caution that comes out.
Absolutely, but these drivers, we got a pack of, I think that's 10 cars in this front pack here.
Yeah, and at the back end of that, it's going to be Alex Bell, who's kind of just lingering and waiting. And Alex Bell, kind of notorious at Talladega to make it 3 wide action. Here at Daytona, you're stuck with 2 wide. Really, you're only stuck with 2 lanes. You could try to go 3, as you're going to see here, the 15 machine trying to get any help he can. But this track is much more narrower here at Daytona than it is at Talladega. So most drivers don't feel as comfortable to go 3 wide as they're scrambling around. Gerald Darling going up to the high side, going to be leading that high groove.
He goes to the outside lane. I'm noticing in the back there, though, the second pack has gotten single file. And with these drivers in the front pack racing side by side, that back pack should catch them in a hurry. Oh, the one car got a little out of shape there.
Yeah, he's going to drop down in front of Hoff and really was very close to being clipped, but able to still stay solid as they're coming through the tri-oval here. And a lot of these drivers up front, playoff drivers, you've got Gerald Darling not able to mathematically go for a championship, but still trying to get a win this season for that one machine. And you got Brandon Hoff, and then you got Lucas Cram, Nick Olson, Clint Spillman, Robbie Lyons, and also Alex Bell.
Oh, stack up there. The 50 car managed to save it. Now the backpack is really going to catch these drivers. They keep racing like this. But this is a product of the bumpy racetrack. You know, you try to push, but the bumps just don't make your bumpers line up, even for these trucks out here.
Yeah, and really, we're starting to see the fact that Gerald Darling able to stay up front. But yeah, like you said, the 50 machine of Newsom going to be having that issue, but still able to hold on and going to be just lingering now on the back half, waiting to see what type of moves they make. Also, got to be careful with how bumpy this course is. Clint Spillman gets clipped, and they're also spinning in the back. That's going to be Bell as well as Newsom getting spun around. We stay green for now, but here's that second group as all carnage as up in the air. That is not good for those drivers. I think that might have been Mcdonald that went up in the air. No, that was Muma.
Yeah, it was Mitchell Muma.
As that all started in the front row, Mitchell Muma, though, did not have a clue what was going on in front of them. But first, we got to take a look at what happened in the trial for these drivers, as it looked like Bell trying to make some moves here, but Gingrich kind of in the way as they entered the trial here. A little bit of a bump to the 48, who then got into Spillman, and then Newsom tried to get under the 15, not able to do so. And then coming out of nowhere is going to be Mitchell Muma, who's going to just see the cars and nowhere to go. Take off for the 40 machine.
I'm honestly surprised to see the 50 machine do that. I mean, I know they got a little squirrely up ahead there. They got a little squirrely up ahead, and the 50 car tried to go below the yellow line, but they got a little clipped there. But that was just insane. That was a hard and insane wreck on the front straightaway.
Yeah, we're going to be taking a really going to be in view of the cockpit of the 50 machine here and getting his perspective, because you saw the 15 car get out of shape. He tried to go to the inside, went on the apron, gets clipped, and really nowhere to go. And then he starts sliding, and you just see that second pack coming, and it's not going to be good. And there they go, spinning like crazy, taking off like rocket ships. And Michael, I mean, luckily these drivers all have fast repairs to work with, so they are not completely out of the woods of having a chance to win this thing. Also, this is going to be helping out Colby Wells that we talked about, who had to start on pit road. Another driver that started on pit road, and it's going to be 5 laps down. It's going to be Jeremy Jones in the 81 machine.
Yeah, they do. They got the fast repair. That's one thing, but they only have one, and it's only lap 9 of 80. So now they're going to have to drive real careful. Pit lane is open, and it looks like the leader stays out and everybody else comes down pit road.
Yeah, and that's kind of a strategy call, just trying to do the opposite of what the leader is going to do, and putting now Lucas Cram, if we go green, he's going to be put in a very precarious situation, because he can only go about 20 laps or so, and then he'll have to come into the pits. So not good to be seen for these drivers, and it looks like Gingrich might have missed his pit box for that 48 machine.
Either that or he just took fuel only. Looks like a lot of these drivers.
He never even saw his pit road box. He just drove right through for the 48.
And that's a very big possibility. That's happened to me on quite a number of occasions. It's with everyone else's pit box out there. It's just really hard to tell which one's yours.
Michael, we talked about how there were 4 cars with mathematical chances to win the championship. That was Lucas Cram, Brandon Hoff, Nick Olson, and Connor Horn looking through the field, and I've been checking to see if he'll ever pop up. Connor Horn is not in our field. He was one of the drivers with the furthest chance of a contention to win. He had about a 38-point gap between himself and our leader of points, Lucas Cram, and not showing up, leaving us with only 3 drivers. And it's going to be those grit machines, Lucas Cram, Nick Olson, and Brandon Hoff, who have been up front all season long, that look like it's just between those 3 to see who's going to be winning this championship.
And that's going to be fun to watch all those cars just try to battle it out. But it's not going to do them any good if the 44 car stays up there. So if anything, they might just have to kind of team up a little bit, knock the 44 out of line, and let him just fall to the back.
Also got to keep an eye on seeing how many laps Lucas Cram leads here, because he's been up front quite a bit so far in this race. I'm pretty sure he's led the most so far with, I believe, 5 to 6 laps, and looking good for himself. Also, Brandon Hoff was leading a couple of laps. Nick Olson was stuck between 2nd and 3rd place for most of that run. So right now, leading the most points would continuously help Lucas Cram. Again, stage is going to be done at the halfway marker of this race, the end of lap 40. That's when our stage caution will come out. Only the top 10 will get stage points. And that's going to be a huge factor for these drivers, because those stage points could really make or break your chances if you're going to be beating Lucas Cram here for the championship.
Oh, absolutely.
This is the NF Service playoffs for these drivers for the SARG Superspeedway. And Michael, it's been an amazing season for us to watch. 11 races. This is race number 12 of the season. And we've been seeing some of the most exciting finishes all season long. I know you got to watch a race here earlier this season. And so far in these first 10 laps, what have you been seeing so far?
It's been chaotic, but I think that's just been because of how bumpy the racetrack is. But it's really been fun to watch so far anyways. And we're just about, we're an 8th into this race. And already we've had our first caution, and it's been a spectacular wreck. So with 1 to go, I'm not 100% sure they're going to go green. Maybe they will, because they have a lap car that might not be able to catch the field in time. But
believe the pace truck lights are off, so we will be going this time by as the drivers are getting set to go. We're stacked up, racked up, ready to take off here for these drivers. Remember, we're going for lap 4, the start of lap 41, when the caution will come out for these drivers, and the top 10 get stage points. The pace truck is off. Green flag in the air. It's going to be Lucas Cram, Nick Olson leading the inside and outside once again. And it's going to be Gerald Darling really on the back bumper of that 44, trying to give a huge launch to Cram.
Absolutely. Going on down into turn number 1, still side by side. Inside lane will get a good run off or in the corner, but the outside lane should get it if they stay hooked up like that.
Kyle Dagger in that 5 machine, who was stuck in that second pack after the little bit of slip up that we were seeing from Newsom and others. And now we're able to see what this 5 machine has working on the outside with the 9 and the 24, and they'll drop down, leave that Kyle Menger all by himself on the outside. And really, that's kind of what we're going to be seeing a lot of, as now it's going to be Robbie Lyons dropping that 97 up to the high side, trying to help him out.
Yeah, and you're going to see the outside lane go. Look at Lucas. He's going to pop up there. He's going to try to ride the high lane's momentum. Clint Spillman up there as well as others. They're trying to get the outside lane forming. This has brought everyone pretty much back up and close together. So that's what's going to make this pretty interesting to watch.
We're starting to see this pack looming and closing. Gerald Darling going to be off, and now here comes the 9 and Brandon Hoff as well as Lucas Cram on the outside, making a charge. And just like that, expecting pretty similar results of both the 9 and the 44 dropping down just like they did, but Cram came down earlier and gets under the 9 of Brandon Hoff. Now Hoff, with no other grip machines to help him on the outside, he's got the 5 and others that pushed him to the high up front. We'll see if they can do it once again.
He's trying to clear him, but the outside lane's going to get the run off the corner. The side draft is going to come into play. You just got to keep side drafting these cars. You know, you've got to just run right next to him. It's hard to keep your car in a straight, in a line, even when turning in these corners. It's so bumpy. You know, you got the steering wheel fighting you, and you're just trying to fight the steering wheel back, trying to keep it on the low line. At the same time, trying to side draft and get the momentum through the corners.
Yeah, Michael, I mean, looking at these drivers and the way that they're running through the corners is where we're seeing a lot of the bumpier sections for these drivers. It seems like on the exit of the corner, it seems like that's when we're seeing the drivers get to the closest between the 2 lanes. I mean, the apron is a place that could possibly push you up on the track. Is that something for these drivers to be watching out for? Do you think that, I mean, so far they've been handling it pretty well, but it's still a scare to watch out for as Clint Spillman gets a little bit out of shape.
Yep. You know, as a driver, if you're not leading the race or in the back of a pack, your mind not only is just racing at 1,000,000 miles an hour. You're looking at the person in front of you, so you don't run into the back of them and spin them out. At the same time, you're looking in your mirror, hoping to God that you don't get spun out from behind either. But if you want to, ride on the onboard camera of Lucas Cram as they're going to go into turns 3 and 4 here. Watch how much he's working that steering wheel into these corners, and that's just the bumps in these corners, trying to keep his car straight.
Trying his best to stay in line, also stay low, and you also got to be focused on the fact that you got to stay locked in and not hit the other driver in the wrong quarter panel. As you can see, the splitters as well as these drivers are going to be dealing with their spoilers being blue. Those are the drivers that are in the playoffs and running extremely well, have been the playoff drivers all season long. We've been seeing Brandon Hoff up front for a lot here this season. Lucas Cram has gotten a ton of wins this season, and continuing on, there's a couple of drivers up here that still have not won yet this season and are still looking for that win. Kyle Menger in that 5 machine on the outside still looking for a win, as well as Robbie Lyons, who's pushing him in that 97 machine. They're looking for their first win this season, and they've been quick. They've been up front. It's just luck has not been there so far this race. Also, Michael, we got to talk about this. We're coming to lap 17. Around lap 20 is when we're going to be a little bit concerned for Lucas Cram because he did not pit. He's the only driver that did not pit this race so far. He's going to possibly have to come down by himself.
Yeah, and that's not something you want to do. I'm guessing he was hoping for another quick caution, but that might not be the case here. See, they're still racing side by side here. And there's another thing I wanted to point out as well. Going back to what I said about working the steering wheel, and you see on the onboard cameras, that's the splitter on the back of these trucks is very, very high. So being in the cockpit view of these cars when you race them, you can't really see what's in front of the car that's in front of you. So, you know, that's another situation that's getting your stress levels up when you're running in a pack like this, because you don't know what's going to happen to the car in front of the one that you're trying to push.
Yeah, and that was actually what kind of hurt Mitchell Muma, because he got trapped and not knowing what was in front of him. He didn't have any reaction time to try to get out of the way of the 50 machine before he went takeoff mode for our first caution of the day. When they came across the line that signed by, it was lap 18. 63 laps to go in this race, but we are inching closer and closer to the halfway marker where we'll be seeing our stage points for these drivers. Top 10 get stage points, and looking at the drivers that are up front, our three contenders that are battling for the championship, Lucas Cram, Nick Olson, as well as Brandon Hoff, all within the top 5, and they're trying to maximize their points the best that they can, but this is not helping really Nick Olson or Brandon Hoff, because they've got a 13-point to 19-point bubble that they're stuck with, that they need to outdo the 44 machine, and if they're all staying up front, you cannot outdo that driver.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't, especially with them running on the front like this. So it makes this race so much of a crapshoot in terms of the championship. But like you said, Lucas he's got to come down pit road here in the next couple of laps. So that could really change things up.
Also, they're coming up to lap traffic in front of them, so they got to be aware of, believe that might be Ben Mcdonald that they're coming up. Excuse me, that is not. Looking to see who that driver is that they were coming up to, but
I believe that's the 81 machine.
Yeah, that is. It's going to be Jeremy Jones and the 81 machine going to be going. He was 5 laps down, and now he got up to 3 laps down after all the wave rounds he had been given. Now back to 4 laps down for the 81 machine, who's going to be pinched up on the high side, and everyone able to cleanly get by the 81 machine. We've got ourselves with a total of 19 drivers on the lead lap. But the drivers to watch out for, I believe Alex Bell, all on his lonesome on the backstretch, as our drivers up front, still duking it back and forth.
The 9 machine going to take the lead. Lucas Cram pushing them there, but we're on lap 20, so we'll be interested to see if he does come down pit road here in the next couple of laps.
Yeah,
if
Lucas
not this one.
Lucas Cram is that driver that we're talking about. He's going to have to come down by himself. And the issue is that I think with the caution that came out, it might give him an extra lap or 2 to stay out and maybe calculate and see who else wants to follow him. Because the timing of that caution actually doesn't help the rest of the field. They all still believe have to come down at least one more time, because they're going to be about 5 to 10 laps short when that caution came out. So now everyone else out here, they've got to be thinking, do we come in when Lucas comes in, or do we leave the points leader all by his lonesome and try to help the other drivers out?
Well, if you leave him by his lonesome and then still come in later, that's, you know, he's not going to gain anything, because he's not going to have anybody to draft with.
Yeah, I mean, it's more so of you're hurting that Lucas Cram by not following him in when he comes in the pits, and that's the real thing of, I'm not expecting to see Nick Olson nor Brandon Hoff follow the 44 in this time, or maybe even the next lap, because this 44 machine has to come in at some point. We are just waiting and looming when he has to come into the pits, because these drivers cannot make it all the way to the halfway marker on 1 tank of fuel.
New race leader.
Right now, it's going to be Nick Olson getting a lap led. That goes to another bonus point for the 24 machine, and now all 3 contenders for the points have led a lap, and now it's the question of, will one of them lead the most laps, because that's 3 bonus points that they could possibly be getting.
Here comes Clint Spillman fighting on the outside lane. Now you have a lap truck up ahead. He's going to stay below the yellow line here as they pass him.
That's going to be Alex Bell.
Oh, the 24 going to go, or the 1 car is going to make it 3 wide.
Leaving Clint Spillman all on his lonesome. Now, who are they going to follow? The 1, but it looks like they're just being so scrambled at the moment, not sure who they want to follow. That's Jacob Locklear, just confused on what he wants to do. And a lot of drivers coming in and recognizing that they have to come in. Ooh, Kobe Wells came in extremely quick. Don't know if he came in too quick, but that's going to be a total of about 5 drivers that came in with our points leader. Also got to make sure that you don't make any mistakes here on pit road. This could be very costly for these drivers.
We're going to see there's a 2-truck tango coming around the line right now. It is a fuel-only pit stop.
It looks like it might have been, yeah, it was fuel only for Lucas Cram. The rest of the field, they were able to take off much quicker than the points leader of Lucas Cram. But up front, it's going to be Nick Olson, Kyle Menger, and as well as watching Brandon Hoff and Robbie Lyons all trying to duke it out. As Locklear actually got himself figured out. Now on the inside, following the 9 machine, is expecting these drivers to stay out for another about 6 laps or so, and then they're going to have to be thinking about when they're going to be coming in. So around lap 30 to about 32 is when we'll be seeing the next pack of drivers coming in, as due to the fact that those drivers came in on lap 10 when that first caution came out.
Well, right now it shows Lucas running in the 16th position, and with Nick Olson in 2nd place, Brandon Houth in 4th. I think Brandon Houth might be the points leader as they run right now.
Where they are right now, I mean, that's, I believe...
Now he's back in 18th place, it's updated. He's now...
Yeah. It's not looking good right now for Lucas Cram, but still, he's not in a terrible situation because still everyone else in front of him still needs to pit. So, yes, I'm expecting a lot of drivers still make mistakes. We've seen that all season long, as now our leader's passing Jeremy Jones once again, 3 wide action through 1 and 2, and it was getting very close and a little bit of shaky there. And it seems like the corner is one of the worst places to really be passing a lap car going 3 wide. So now they're giving each other lots of space, but yes, he had to pit early, but at least he had 3-4 other drivers to work with, and they're going to be losing time, but it's still expecting a group of machines to make mistakes here once they come into the pits, because we've been seeing that all season long with drivers making mistakes and seeing these massive groups splitting off from mistakes in pit road.
That's true, and I wonder how long it'll take them to pit too, because Lucas is not that far away from being lapped. If I'm not mistaken, they're roughly in turn 1 right now, while the leaders are just now entering turn 1 right now.
Yeah, and right now it's more of a factor of when do they pit. Still 4 more laps until we see this lead pack. Think about pitting here. 4 to about 6 laps is the window that they'll be thinking about it. Nick Olson leading the charge on the inside, having himself Brandon Hoff following suit in the 9. On the high side, Kyle Menger, Robbie Lyons, Clint Spillman, as well as that's going to be Jared Darling, Darling's been one of those drivers who's been very up and down throughout the season. Started the season was so consistently up in our top 3 on the low line, and then through the mid pack of the season kind of dropped off, tried the outside groove, tried different strategies out, and now here later in the season really tried to make the outside lane be his favorite spot to work around, and it's worked out some races, and others it's just been disastrous to see. But, Michael, we haven't really talked about it that much. The last 2 races have come down to calamity during the white flag, and where you really were at the coming out of turn number 4 wasn't usually where you finished coming across the line, because so many cars were getting involved in wrecks. That's something to keep our eye out once they cross the line here today, because you might be finding yourself in first place, and then by the end of that lap, you might find yourself in last place. It could change so quickly, as right now we're still waiting for the drivers to come into the pits, and also waiting for the end of lap 40 when stage 1 will come to an end.
Absolutely. Listening to some driver chat here.
Michael, just watching these drivers at the moment, we're getting closer to pit road stops. Like I said, we've seen it throughout the season of drivers missing their pit box or sliding through. Is there any real way to try to negate not sliding your tires or trying to help yourself in pit road?
Yeah, it's just be easy. You don't want to be hard on the brakes trying to get on pit road or to find your pit stall. You don't want to mess anybody up. You literally just want to take it easy, keep an eye out for your pit box, and when your pit sign, how it drops down to let you know where it's at. Just keep an eye out. Try not to worry about the other cars around you. Just focus on finding your pit stall.
Focused and waiting as these drivers continue to battle it on side by side. But we're expecting a lot of these drivers to start single filing out as we're getting closer to pit road, and we're starting to see it on the back half of the field of this front pack as drivers singling filing out, giving each other a lot of space, but it's our front, about 10, that have not been given a lot of room. Still side-by-side action up front.
Getting ever so closer to lapping those 4 trucks that are ahead of them.
As those 4, I mean, I think right now, due to the fact that we haven't seen a caution yet, Lucas Cram and that lead in that group of 4 still waiting and feeling pretty confident and comfortable.
I think I just heard that the 5 machine might be pitting this time by.
Yeah, which I'm not surprised by. A lot of these drivers are going to have to pit here, and getting ready are they.
Oh, there's going to be a big number of cars coming down pit road this time.
Yeah, but it's all about finding that space. Also coming up to lap traffic is that's going to be Colby Wells in the 45 machine about to go lap down on the outside, and now all the drivers are going to be going 3 wide. And you've got drivers that are saying, hey, I need to come into the pits, but there's no space for them to come down at the moment.
84 lets the 5 machine in.
As the drivers continue on, still running hard and fast. As now Nick Olson, Brandon Hoff, and all the drivers, they're going to be scattering into the pits, but who will be staying out? It's going to be Brandon Hoff that stays out, and the 5 comes in. Robbie Lyons coming in with a head of steam, as all of them sliding through. Menger almost making contact, and a lot of machines.
Did make contact with somebody, almost ran somebody into the pit wall.
Looks like a lot of machines able to come through cleanly and into the pits. Up front, top 5 still running out here, and they're going to be mixed up and mingled with other drivers that have already pitted. As Brandon Hoff, Clint Spillman, Gerald Darling, as Gingrich is going to be following as well, with Gavin Jones just waiting behind with these drivers, as they should be coming in this time by, and now everyone is hunting for that halfway marker. As now coming to the pits, is it going to be this front pack of cars?
Couple extra cars stay out.
Gingrich into the grass. It's trying to find space to come down, and still is in the grass. Finally gets into a spot as we watch here. Brandon Hoff and Spillman see what the 9 car and how well his pit box is going to be.
Couple of drivers on pit road still from the last stop, it looked like.
Looking at it, looks like Lucas Strayer staying in pit road. Some damage still implemented on that 41 machine.
21 is sputtering.
And that's going to be major issues for the 21 machine of Jacob McDonald. McMillan, excuse me. As McDonald is going to be back in 19th place, just coming into the pits.
You just did it again.
What?
I think you called it McDonald. I thought it was McDonald.
No, McDonald just came into the pits. McMillan it's coming to the pits now. There are 2 different drivers with those names. I was looking at Ben McDonald on my ticker as the drivers are now out of the pits trying to get going, as the 24 is going to be getting a charge from the 5. And I talked about how the drivers are going to be split up. Where are they going to be? Lucas Cram, after pit stops have gone down, he's in 10th place. Still, stage points can be grasped for the 44 machine. As up front, it's a 5-car pack to see who's going to be winning stage number 1, unless a caution comes out. As Darling able to get himself cycled through. And now we'll see if this second pack can get lined up and ready to go.
This could really make the points race tighter if if the 24 car is able to get the most bonus points out of this. If the 44 machine is only able to get 1 point, if that get 1 point, which it looks like he will, unless Stephen Gale can get around him, then that's gonna be a 9-point gap increase and make the points difference roughly 4 or 5 points at the start of the second round.
Well, it's going to be 10 points for the winner, and then it drops down 1 point after that. So it would make it extremely close for sure for the drivers. It's about 4 points. It would be between Hoff and Cram. And then also, if you look at Nick Olson, he's going to be also wanting to try to beat out the 9 machine. And that's why he's trying to get as much help as possible as the 2 trucks on the inside, the 24 and the 5. Holding strong where they're at.
Lucas gained 1 more spot. 1 car just fell back, and that's kind of try to fall in line behind here.
As we continue to watch and see, it's going to be Nick Olson on the inside leading that group, and then on the outside, Brandon Hoff trying to get as much help as he can from Gavin Jones. Jones, just they need to get the momentum if they want to make that outside lane work. Just not enough time really as coming across the line there. Going to be giving us about 6 laps to go for these drivers before the end of stage 1.
It's all about points in the back here. So I'm wondering if these guys in the back will try to pass that lap machine.
Well, it's more of just waiting this out for those drivers. We're going to drop back to Lucas Cram and see what's going on with him. He's got himself Alex Bell, as well as the 52 and the 20 and the 26 there, all staying in line. They're about 7.2 seconds away from the second group that's going to be in front of them, led by Jacob Locklear. And also you got yourself the 38 and the 11 and a lot of other lap machines following suit in the second pack. And then, like we said, we got the 5-car pack for the lead. Nick Olson and also Brandon Hoff. They're really the focal points at the moment to see how many points can they get, as Lucas Cram, he could potentially get 2 points here at this stage, 1 point or no points if he gets himself past here in his final couple of laps before stage 1 is done. But up front, it's still going to be Nick Olson.
Absolutely. Right now, Lucas is poised to get in 2 bonus points, which would make the gap about 5 or 6 if the 24 of Nick Olson ends up winning the stage.
And, just overall, I think this was kind of what we were expecting from Nick Olson and Brandon Hoff, to be up front, running as hard as they can, get as many laps led, and try to get maximizing the bonus points that they could. Weren't able to maximize it due to the fact that, Lucas Cram was able to get the pole, and he's been so good at getting the pole at almost every race, it seems like. But Nick Olson, as well as Brandon Hoff, still running well, and both of them, with the way they're bouncing back and forth, it is going to be a very close battle to see who's going to get the most laps led by the end of this race, just because it seems like one driver leads one lap, the other one leads the next, and they just continue bouncing back and forth, coming closer and closer to the end of this stage. Would we see Gavin Jones or Darling or even Manger make a pass here, as they're really not in contention for a chance to go for a championship run? But obviously stage points are always nice to be able to say, hey, I won stage 1 of the final race.
We have a new leader. That is the 9 machine up here. And you got Nick Olson going to try to run the outside lane. They're going to keep swapping the lead back and forth here. But they're also approaching some lap trucks as well.
And we'll see if those lap machines are able to catch up to the tail end of whenever they get passed by this lead group. But another 3 laps before we see that stage 1 caution come out. And Michael, it's been a wild season for sure for these drivers. We've seen a lot of fiascos coming to the end of these stages in the middle of this race, but we always know the end of the race, the white flag, that's when all the carnage and really all the madness kicks in for these drivers. Is Nick Olson still leading the way, having Brandon Hoff pushing him, and Darling going to be leading the 5-car, always lonesome on the high side, as everyone else going to be passing Manger there as we're coming across the line here once again. Inching closer and closer to stage points. Lucas Cram still running in 9th place at the moment, and it's not looking like anyone's going to be trying to make a pass on that 44.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think they're gonna try. I don't think they will. But as I'm trying to scroll back around to it right here, and so it looks like the maximum amount of bonus points Lucas is gonna get is going to be 2 points. Unless he starts getting past here, as we have 2 to go in the stage.
Yeah, you got the 52 and also the 26 still in this pack, being blocked kind of in a way by the 15 of Alex Bell. And this race has not gone the way that Bell wanted it to go after the contact with himself and Newsom, bringing out our first caution. And you talked about lap traffic for our leaders, able to pass by the lap car there and able to continue marching their way. They just passed by the 21 of Jacob McMillan, and Jacob McMillan, he's running a tribute car here, and he's been running it the last couple of weeks. It's going to be that silver Toyota Tundra that he's been rocking. It's actually the gray, and he's running it for his grandfather, who's just been the world for him, and it's been an honor to be watching all the different schemes that Jacob's been running throughout the season, and this one's for Papa Truck. And it's a great honor to be seeing him out here running right now in 17th place and trying to be the first car 1 lap down, get the lucky dog, and have a chance to battle for the win here today.
It might be possible if he could be the first one, because we're on the final lap. We're coming to the stage ending break. There it is, right there.
As coming across the line, it's going to be Nick Olson getting the stage win. And that's huge, as he was third, 19 points back. This is going to be marching him now to 11 points difference between himself and Lucas Cram. And also Brandon Hoff, he's going to be finishing back in third place, so he didn't even get second, which would have been so much more helpful. And now that gap is only going to be dropping down to, I believe, 7 points between Lucas Cram and Brandon Hoff for the last half of this race.
And what is Lucas? What's the difference between Lucas?
Lucas is back in 9th place, and he's got himself a 13-point coming into this race. 13 points was the difference between Brandon Hoff and Lucas Cram. I believe, though, with the bonus point, the difference would be 8 points. Going in for the final set of this race would be between Lucas Cram, Brandon Hoff. 8 points is the difference, and that is going to be the gap that these drivers are going to be hunting for. Still the potential of Nick Olson, as well as Brandon Hoff, going for the most laps led, which would be another 3 bonus points. And then you also look at Nick Olson. He's got a 19-point gap coming into this thing, but also got to attribute at least this is going to be a 12-point difference because of the pole position bonus point that Lucas Cram earned himself at the start of this race, as the drivers are slowing down, waiting for everyone else to catch up and also get up to the pace car. As drivers are getting set up and ready here, we're going to take a quick side-by-side break. Be right back for the final half of the finale at Daytona 08 200 here for the SARG Superspeedway series for the NS Service Playoffs. We'll be right back to all the action.
Since the VFW was founded, their mission was really to look out for the veterans community, to make sure that our nation upholds its promise to really care for the service member, the veteran, and his or her family. There are several ways that the VFW fights for veterans today. The top services include disability claims assistance, advocacy on Capitol Hill and with the Department of Veterans Affairs. We also offer scholarship opportunities, and then also volunteerism. For me personally, when I came back from Iraq, my life experience was drastically different from those around me, and the veterans of foreign wars really spoke to me. The reason I would encourage veterans who have served overseas today to join the VFW is because this is your organization. The VFW is for veterans. Every generation, a new generation of leaders steps up in the veterans of foreign wars and fights for the veterans community.
The Veterans of Foreign Wars. No one does more for veterans. For more information on the VFW, go to ahctv.com/sacrifice.
Most everyone involved in sim racing always wants that edge or even make the experience a little bit better, or in this case, a little bit more in depth. Enter Iracing iFlag. iFlag is a simulation signal box with software designed by Peter Vostro. When you are behind the wheel in iRacing, your eyes are looking down the track or maybe even in the rear or side view mirrors. You may not notice or even hear when the caution comes out, when your car is damaged, or if you get black flagged, or even notice the car beside you. Yes, iFlag will point out the signs and tell you where that car is. It just makes iRacing more real and can help you become a better driver. We also offer iRacing iFlag Digital Pit Box. This small box is a great addition to any sim rig. With only 3.5 inches wide, it gives you all the information you need, including how many laps completed, how much fuel you will need to finish, what lap you need to pit on, laps till your fuel is empty, as well as weather and track conditions. It also switches when you come down pit road for more information, including what lap you're pitting under, tire wear, laps on tires, fuel average, and much, much more. To see more info, check us out today at iracingiflag.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the SARG Superspeedway Series for the NS Service Playoffs for the finale at Daytona 08 200. It has been a blast to see Nick Olson as well as Brandon Hoffman up front for most of this race. A little bit of pit road situation mix-up put Lucas Cram back around 9th position coming to the end of the stage 1. So he wasn't able to maximize the most points. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Michael Norman. Michael, it's the final race of the season. It's time to see who's going to be the championship winner. Lucas Cram, we did the math. He's going to be having himself, believe, an 8-point difference between himself and Brandon Hoff, and then 11-point difference between himself and Nick Olson. It's going to be wild to see how these drivers continue on from this race, because it's all about who can finish most ahead of Lucas Cram between Brandon Hoff and Nick Olson. Lucas Cram, his goal is just to finish in front of the 24 and also the 9.
Well, he's also running in 3rd place as we're back under the green flag.
Brandon Hoff as well as Nick Olson getting great launches for themselves, staying side by side. And now that everyone is on the same sequence of pit stops, we should be seeing a little bit more of an equal run between the 24, the 9, and the 44, unless we see another caution. We've seen ourselves now, would be our second caution of the stage break, and then we had our first caution back on lap number 10 with a calamity of cars going up into the air. And really, this has been a fabulous race so far. Everyone's been keeping it pretty clean besides that first accident that we had. Everyone else has just been kind of just running their own race and waiting.
For now, we got 36 laps to go. At the end of this race, it's going to start getting dicey.
For sure. I mean, the intensity level is only going to race from here. And honestly, it's only going to get worse for the drivers that are up front, because you know that you've got drivers that are hunting for a win and wanting their first win of the season. And then you've also got drivers that are just wanting their best finishes of the season, as well as trying not to hurt the drivers that are hunting for this championship run, as all 3 of the drivers that are hunting for a championship, all 1, 2, 3 on the inside.
Yep, and they're going to have to get that 44 machine out of the way if these guys want to even really have a shot at it. And it's difficult to do that because the draft is so predominant here.
Yeah, it's been extremely difficult to try to make any type of push. We've seen a couple of cars that have been able to make the run, but you see there, Darling, just the bump's so aggressive that if you hit the bump wrong, it's going to shove you back and losing time. 34 laps to go here in the final race of the season, seeing who's going to win the championship. Based on where they're running right now, Lucas Cram would be your champion of the season. And it's been a wild season so far, a lot of dramatic finishes, but for the playoffs here, it's been fun to watch for the NS Service playoffs, just because 4 races for 12 drivers, just to see who could get the most amount of points throughout those 4 races. And it's crazy to see we've got 3 drivers all in contention, and just like that, we almost saw Nick Olson's day go up in smoke as that 24 machine going to the apron, coming into the corner. And you got to be careful not get too low down there where you find yourself spinning around.
Yeah, that's just a product of the bumpiness. You know, with these drivers, it's hard to see where the front of your driver's side truck's going to be, because, and I've had this happen to me plenty of times before, with the car in front of you, it's just hard to see where you're going to end up planting that part of your truck at. So you want to run right next to the yellow line, but you don't want to be right on it, because stuff like that could happen.
Another factor we haven't really talked about, we talked about it a lot more last week because that was the day the update came out. But these drivers are dealing with a big update that changed up how these trucks actually feel while on track. You're able to carry so much more speed into these corners that actually the cars that are pushing kind of have to worry about when they need to let off or completely keep on pushing the truck in front of them. So a little bit of a change up late in the season for these drivers, but it seems like they've been doing a pretty good job at it right now. Just that one little slip up that we've seen from Nick Olson so far, and that 24 machine has been pretty smooth all race so far, and trying to continue that on as we move on.
Absolutely.
And it's got to be Gerald Darling in that 1 machine on the high side. He's got the 5, as well as Robbie Lyons in the 97 waiting there, as well as Gingrich in the 48 machine, who Gingrich we saw on that green flag pit stop was in the grass for a stint there, still able to stay on the green on a lead lap and running well right now in 7th place in the top 10.
11 machine blinking a little bit, not too bad. The inside lane's getting the run. If the outside lane gets the run off the corner, it's almost impossible for one line to get the better advantage here, but those cars pushing on the inside lane is telling a whole different story.
Yeah, I'm trying to see who's going to really be the driver that's going to push the issue, try to make this thing go 3 wide. It's very narrow comparatively of all the other courses that we've been at to Daytona compared to Talladega and Michigan. It's kind of difficult to try to go 3 wide and feel comfortable with how bumpy it is at this legacy course. And wondering who is going to be the truck to feel the most daring to try to go 3 wide and possibly make the move that could put you at a chance to win this race. Brandon Hoff still on the inside with Jared Darling on the outside. Not a lot of shifting going on, but Michael, I think you can check on your side. There has to be a lot of drivers that have been changing up a lot in where they've started the race compared to where they're running now.
Yeah, and honestly, it's been real impressive. Like the highest mover I've seen. Oh, it looked like somebody was blowing up back there. But it's Kyle Manger, started 14th, running 4th. Or it could be Colby Wells, started dead last in from pit road and is now in the 11th position right now.
Colby Wells on the inside of one of those purple machines trying to follow Jacob Locklear. As you talked about that smoke that's puffing out, and that's going to be the blinking from the 11 that you talked about. Whenever we see a car blink, a little puff of smoke, Jared Darling going to be ducking it to the inside, making a move for the lead. But yeah, I mean, Colby Wells, this is the same thing that happened the last time he started on pit road, got that early caution, found himself slowly, methodically finding himself moving closer and closer up front, almost won that race. I believe that might have been race number 4 of the season at Daytona. So he's trying to make a mark here for himself.
Yep, absolutely. And the one car able to clear for the lead. The question's going to remain is how long
Lucas Cram.
Oh, yep, he's stuck in the middle.
Oh, he's going to hit into Gingrich just a little bit there, a little bit of rubbing action, able to hold on, but still 3 wide. Back here for 8th place. They're 3 wide once again for 4th place now. And I talked about when they're going to feel gutsy, when they're going to feel daring. Well, 30 laps to go. Seems like it's the time. 3 wide here from 3rd place all the way back to about 8th. And they're still pushing on. Lucas Cram pushing Robbie Lyons. And now it's going to be Gingrich all on his lonesome on the high side.
Yeah, and that's so difficult to do with just how bumpy this track is. So it's interesting to see these drivers do that and make it work too, as we have a new leader, and that's the number 5 machine taking it on the outside lane.
Yeah, Kyle Manger going to be able to make that pass. He's now going to be leading the outside groove. He's got himself Robbie Lyons, Lucas Cram, and Clint Smillman. That's a pretty good row of machines. But then you look on the inside, it's still very strong to see Hoff, Darling, and also seeing Olsen and Jones. These are another 4-pack of cars that have been just so quick throughout the whole entire season.
We forgot to mention, if Olsen wins this race, that's 45 points. 2nd place is, well, you said 39, right?
Yeah.
So then that's 6 points on its own. So if Olsen were to win and Lucas finished where he's at right now, I think Olsen would just squeak by with the championship.
I believe actually that'd be flipped to Brandon Hoff that you're saying that he needs to do that because you said Olsen right now, the furthest back of 3 drivers that are battling for the championship. It's okay. They're all grit machines. They've been the yellow and black all season long, and they've been doing a great job trying to figure out how they're going to be marching their way forward. And these were 3 of the strongest cars at the start of the season, and they carried that momentum all the way through. And the consistency, it's so hard to find consistency at super speedways. There's so much luck that needs to be thrown in, but as we've been seeing throughout the season, skill also very important if you're going to be finding yourself at the end and surviving the carnage around you.
Man, these drivers have got to get to the outside lane. The outside lane has the momentum. They're coming up on a lap truck.
Oh no, this is terrible to see. That's going to be, believe, Alex Bell. No, that's going to be, that's the 50 of... Oh no, there's no Gingrich getting spun around and others being collected in that thing. Bell going to be involved. Murphy, Gingrich. Oh, you hate to see a Mcdonald involved. Leaf Strayer, who's been trying to come back after bad luck. He's also collected in this thing. As we're going to take a quick look to see who all got involved in this thing, because it was a big one.
That was just terrible stack up and a terrible time to catch a lap car.
I mean, it started with really drivers kind of panicking because you had yourself with, drivers stuck on the high side trying to make passes. That was Robbie Lyons that was always stuck on the high side, and no one really knew where to place their machines once that lap truck came into motion. And also, it looked like there was a little bit of cars blinking into one another there that might have happened with Locklear as well as Gingrich in the 48. But
absolutely, and this could also help too. These trucks can come down pit road, and they might just have enough to make it to the end.
Gingrich, as well as it looks like Mcdonald's going to be blowing up their engines, and a factor we haven't talked about, fast repairs. We saw some drivers try not to use their fast repairs until it was needed. Expecting to see Gingrich come in, use a fast repair, most likely McDonald as well, as drivers getting set up and ready to go. But pit road now going to be open for these drivers, and it's just outside the window for them to make it now, Michael.
That's what I was saying. I'm not sure if these trucks will have enough. Maybe if they get a couple of more caution flags, they can save gas. But this is going to be interesting strategy.
If someone's going to be going into save mode, most likely they're going to wait for the one to go and come into the pits. I think that is the strat if you're going to be trying that out. But coming into the pits now, it's going to be the one of Gerald Darling leading the way for all these drivers.
Somebody stayed out. Oh, that was just the 50 machine. So the rest of these drivers come down pit road here, and it's going to be interesting. Let's see what the strategy is going to be. Looks like the 9 machine is taking, or that's the 24. 24 machine is taking he's taking 4 tires.
Yeah, I think this is the one Superspeedway track where I think tires might actually be extremely important to see. As the one of Gerald Darling also went with 4 tires.
He's going to lose a couple of spots, though. But we'll see if it helps him out. That's going to be the question.
We also saw a little bit of rubbing, so there could have been at least a half a second, maybe a second of optional repairs that Olsen decided, hey, I'm going to take that just to make sure that I'm good to make it to the end of this race, and just in case other contact happens. Kobe Wells is going to be coming in later than the rest of the field for that 45 machine and able to get going. Also, Jacob McMillan able to be the lucky dog recipient here for that 21 truck, and he'll be getting back onto the lead lap. 18th position is for this 21 machine. And, Michael, we started with 24 drivers here for this race. 18 drivers left on the lead lap. Still plenty of space to be making some moves. Even if you're so far back to last place, you can still make a charge here at these Superspeedway tracks just because of the momentum and the way the speed's been working.
Absolutely, and this is going to be interesting. We got the 9 of Brandon Houff leading, and Lucas Cram will be second.
Lucas Cram most likely going to be on the outside, going to be getting help from the 5 machine, and we'll see if the drivers decide to help one another or give each other space to come down and line up, or if they're going to just be in battle mode, because we're coming close to less than 20 laps to go, Michael, and we know once you get about less than 20, 15, 10 laps, each lap that ticks away, the tensions get higher, and the realization of, I need to beat this driver by how many positions to win this race. It's more of get up front, stay up front, and hope that your luck stands, and the driver you're battling, aka Lucas Cram, gets taken out of this race or drops so far back that he can win a championship.
Absolutely.
These drivers have been working for 11 races. This is the 12th one here for the finale at Daytona 08 200. It's been a blast to see how these drivers have been working all season long, and the techniques and the amazing battles that we've seen, the carnage that has happened during these races, and it continues to impress us, and we're so excited to be broadcasting this race. NF Services, the major sponsor for the playoffs, and F Services, they are a great sponsor that have been helping, and they hopped on board about coming right before we got to playoff time, and it's been a blast to be having them the major sponsor of the playoffs for the SARG Superspeedway Series. Michael, we're getting ready to go for racing action here, and talked about how it's close. If you can make it, looking at the drivers that came into the pits late here, I mean, looks like Kobe Wells, he's the driver that I've got my eye on. He might be someone who thinks about pushing it as far as he can go and might try to steal a win here.
It's very possible. We are coming to 22 laps to go when we get the green flag. 22 laps to go. Green flag is back out. What's going to happen?
It's going to be Brandon Hoff, Lucas Cram leading their charge, and Gavin Jones giving no space for that 44 truck to come down, as well as Jared Darling staying right on the 12 machine's back bumper and just shoving them along, giving zero space, and a little bit of Kobe Wells and Locklear get a little bit out of shape as they're getting close to the apron there. Another driver we haven't really talked about, Alex Bell, who had issues early on, went a lap down, almost 2 laps down, trying to make a charge here as he dumps it to the outside.
Trying to get a line going. They're 3 wide behind them, but it's not going to be any good as the truck on the outside lane has nobody to go with them. But here comes the inside lane, surging ahead. Only 2 cars on that outside lane, now 3.
Yeah, that's going to be Kobe Wells moving up to the high side and expecting others to possibly follow suit. It's that 45 machine. He might have started on pit road, got that early caution that he needed to have himself a chance. Still on the 3rd lane. The driver that we've been notoriously known to go 3 wide, Alex Bell, looking for any friends that he can get, and it looks like he might have found a friend up on the high side. As I said that, I think Robbie Lyons might have decided, hey, let's just wait this out until we make a final push.
Absolutely.
Up front, it's going to be the 9 to Brandon Hoff, and then also Lucas Cram, as they're going to be staying side by side and looking to see what type of help they can get. We're seeing that the inside lane has been doing a great job. Another factor we haven't talked about, Michael, the sun has been beaming on this track, and it's just been in and out. The cloud cover has been so frequent to be seen that it's been odd to see whenever we see sunlight just creeping onto the track.
Going around here into turn 1, looks like Brandon's got the full lead now, and the 44 is dropping back. The outside lane just not getting a good run as it was, and this is exactly what that 9 machine wants. He needs to win this race.
Yeah, right now he's hoping to see Lucas Cram drop probably back to around 8th position, and that would be the best opportunity for Hoff to be winning this championship. Around 6th or 9th place is that bubble that we're looking to see. If Lucas Cram finishes back there, Brandon Hoff wins this thing and also gets bonus points. This 9 truck could be stealing this championship away, as Gavin Jones getting a major push here from the 44, and we're going to be seeing Gavin Jones leading his first lap here as they're coming through 1 and 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Now the outside lane starting to get the run that they really need. The inside lane beginning to break up a little bit. So this is not what the 9 machine really needs.
Absolutely not. I mean, he's trying to lead every lap that he can, lead the most laps. But here's the thing, with Gavin Jones leading laps, that's actually taking it away, because I don't believe Gavin Jones, even if he leads all the laps from here on out, I don't think that he can lead the most laps. I think that would go to Brandon Hoff in the 9, or even Nick Olson, as both those, like we said, been swapping back and forth. But this is looking very good so far for Lucas Cram, because if someone else wins this race, it gives him a better option of winning the championship.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think that 4-tire strategy has helped out Nick Olson at all, because he's still stuck in the back of the pack there. And the outside lane is more organized here, so we should see it push out ahead coming down the back straightaway.
But I don't think that really Nick Olson's in a terrible situation. He can still run where he's at and really feel comfortable with a possible chance for a win, because like we said, these drivers are going to be so on edge if they can make it to the end on fuel that we might be just seeing some drivers coming in, take a splash of fuel, and get back out there. That there's the major factor of this race might come down to how well you can pit. It's a little bit of shuffling, as Lucas Cram going to be able to get to the inside and Hoff to the outside.
He tried to block the 9 from getting a run on moving to the outside lane. It did not work. The 9 going to move back to the outside lane. That's the lane that has been moving. So we're going to see it now. Which lane is the better lane? As the 1, he's just all over the back bumper of that 44.
Yeah, right now, if you're leading this, whatever lane you're leading, you're just hoping that the cars behind you don't dissipate and just disappear from you, as it looks like the inside lane not as really organized as the outside lane is. They're a little bit more scattered, not right on top of one another, but as I say that, you're starting to see the bottom 4 really start to get lined up, but it's the top 3 that look like they might be getting a run out of 4 as the 52 gets a little bit out of shape, able to hold on, and now it's going to be coming across the line. Oh man, that would be a close finish there.
That was definitely the 44 car, though. That's what the telemetry says. And that was definitely close. But now the 9 car has a good run. He's got to keep the car behind him, pushing him. Got to keep him close. The inside lane, got to side draft, try to break him up. So that way the 44 will fall back. But the outside lane gets the run off the corner if they can stay organized.
It's lead pack, 14 drivers all set up side by side and trying to make as many moves as they can. It's kind of hard when you're stuck side by side because not a lot of drivers want to even try 3 wide action. So it's about making your move forward. When you find an opening on the high side or the low side, moving your truck up or down, find that spot and hope that that lane starts moving again. As we're coming to 15 laps to go here, Michael, they're in the window. If they can come into the pits, get just a quick splash, a half a tank of fuel, they should be good to make it to the end. But the question of the drivers that are staying in the middle of the pack, they're kind of in safe mode while our leaders are pushing it to the max. And if anything, this is putting now Nick Olsen in the best position because he's running here back here, just lingering in pits and waiting to make a charge.
See what the 44 Lucas ran to the outside lane trying to block the 9. Not sure if the 9's going to cut him much slack going into these corners, and you're right, but I feel like these drivers are going to push it all the way until they have no choice but to come down pit road.
Yeah, and they're really trying to make as many different moves as possible and waiting as the 52. Gall trying his best. Hoff going to the 3rd lane, trying to get someone to follow him and just not able to.
Yeah, he is trying to leave that 44 out to dry. You can see it in every move. He's trying to get him to commit to the very outside and then maybe try to duck it back down to the inside. He's just not sure if the cars behind him will go with him, as now the outside lane's beginning to die down now.
Yeah, and really just looking at the different drivers and how they're going to be moving it around. I mean, right now, Cram and Hoff, they've just been staying right on top of one another, and it just seems like our points battle, they've been on top of one another. It just seems only one driver drops back. Right now, that is Nick Olsen, waiting and looming if he's going to be able to make any type of movement so far. But as we're on board with Hoff, we're going to look and see who's going to be following this driver, because there's not really much movement that's going on behind him. He's just waiting for any type of help.
Yeah, he is. And imagine if Brandon can succeed in leaving the 44 car out to dry. You know, just how far back he'd go. He'd definitely lose a lot of spots if he somehow was able to do that. But the question is when and if he'll do it, because like you said, these cars might not make it to the end of the race on fuel.
Yeah, they might be about a lap to maybe I think they're going to be a lap short. And I think that's why we're seeing some drivers slowly backing down on their speed compared to what they were running before, just because they're trying to think of ways to save fuel and make sure they can make it to the end.
We're just going to have to wait and see what the outcome is. We have 12 laps to go.
As Lucas Cram looking back through this field, just the line of cars, one slip up and you'll be dropping all the way to the back. And coming up in front of Hoff, able to make that move. Stick.
He's going to get himself turned if he keeps doing that. That's real freaking crazy.
Oh, yeah, it is extremely close. And really, it's putting yourself in danger. And thought for a second maybe Cram would come down. But Cram at this moment, his goal is just to keep the 9 car behind him. If he can do that, the championship is all his. As, oh boy, they are getting close. And almost spinning out the 44 was the 9. As they're continuing to just stay right on top of one another. I mean, they're so close. And just not giving an inch. And here comes Hoff to the outside.
To the outside lane, but there's not going to be much of an outside lane here.
I mean, trying to get any type of help. Gavin Jones went up there to try to help and try to go 3 wide. But just there wasn't enough trucks. They weren't in line enough to try to make that 3 wide action work. As now we're going to be seeing Hoff dropping back. And this is going to be torture because it takes so long for drivers to start moving forward.
Yep, that might have been all she had for the 9 car.
Whoa! That's going to be the 81 that's gets out of shape, Jones, as he's going to be still trying to save it, and all the drivers stay straight, and we stay green.
That might have been all she wrote for the 9 car. He's trying to push the 2 cars up here now. That's one thing. The outside lane's more organized than the inside.
Oh, he's got through the middle. He's trying to find some help.
Yep, he won't go to the very, very. Oh my goodness, he will not go to the very, very outside lane because he just realized that nobody will go with him if he does.
Where the heck did Brady Floyd come from? That 20 machine just shot up like a rocket, went all the way from 9th place up to 3rd place, all by himself with the momentum that he was having with the draft. That 20 machine might be one of the fastest trucks all by himself right now.
Not much now because he has no drafting help. But we're going to see. This is getting real close. We have 10 laps to go, coming to 9 laps to go this time. The 9 car really trying to get the outside lane going again.
Also, you got to look out for Brady Floyd. The back bumper completely jacked up. So obviously has been ran in the back and has not gotten that 20 machine repaired. Lucas Cram still leading the inside groove. You talked about how the 9 might be out of it. He's leading the outside, and he's getting a huge shove here from Brady Floyd. It might be a shove to the lead.
And you got to think the 44 car saying, man, I thought I just got rid of him. Look at him. Where has he come from? He's not giving up.
Absolutely not. And that's what you have to do if you're going to be battling for a championship. You've got to have that grit that they have. Just, they got to keep on pushing and going for it. And that's exactly what we are seeing from this 9 machine, who's just not giving up, even though he might have been pushed back.
The gas question will still come into play. Gonna have to wait and see if these drivers can even make it. You figure they're running their trucks until they run out of gas.
Yeah, they're trying to go as far as they can. And we talked about how Nick Olson, he was in a prime situation if he stayed in line. Well, he's been dropped all the way back to 13th place, and he's in no man's land right now. He's in the back with this 3rd pocket of cars, and nowhere really to find help as we move back up front to watch the action up here.
Only 2 cars staying on the outside lane. Nobody wants to go with the 9 and the 20, and that's very, very surprising.
I mean, we're just staying in line and waiting. I mean, there's, like you said, just waiting and looming. Who's going to make the move to the inside, the outside? So we're on board with Gavin Jones, who's running in 6th place. He's the car that can make a decision. Which lane will he follow, staying on the inside for now?
Yeah, everyone, if you just look at these line of cars, everyone's riding the inside lane. No one's running the top. Unless they get more help, that outside lane is not going to go anywhere.
We haven't really talked much about tires, and maybe that's a factor on why we're not seeing a lot of these drivers trying to go to the outside. And they're kind of just staying in put and just waiting for their time to make a move because they don't feel comfortable or confident with the way their tires are handling at the moment.
It's very much possible. It's very possible, but, it also comes down to the fuel thing, too. A lot of these drivers just want to run in a line, try to save fuel that way with drafting, but it's really, really affecting the outcome of this race as the 9 car is almost pushed out to the lead there.
But, I mean, Michael, we're talking about fuel and the potential of them running out on the last lap. The 2 cars that have not been saving, Lucas Cram and Brandon Hoff, they've not thought about saving at all as they've been leading both of the lines this whole entire time. Only driver that has been in save mode for the championship drivers would be Nick Olson, but he's back in 16th place. He's losing even more positions for the 24 machine.
He could also be saving more of that 24 machine if he's losing spots. He could be trying to save more, maybe to make it.
It is now going to be 5 laps to go in the finale at Daytona 08 200 here for the SARG Superspeedway NS Services. Lap traffic in front of our leaders, and they've got to be slightly concerned because they're side by side in front of them.
Ooh, if the 9 car could pick up on some of that draft, it might help him pull away, use him as a pick, but here we go.
Trying to do their best to follow suit as the drivers coming down the backstretch. Waiting when they're going to be making these passes as the drivers, they're so spread. They're getting more and more spread out, but Gavin Jones, as well as Alex Bell, coming with that of steam, and Brady Floyd comes down, and that right there could have been carnage and bringing out another caution of the day. Somehow that 20 machine saved that bump.
And now they're all getting in a single file line, and this is not what the 9-car wants right now.
This is just showing me that pit roads, that they're thinking about pits. They're thinking about it. I mean, that's the only reason I would think that these drivers would all go single file with 4 laps to go.
It's very possible.
I mean, would you even say, hey, I'm coming into the pits at this stage of the race? I mean, you have so much information to give to a driver. You can honestly fake some drivers out. I know the audience, we don't care what's going on.
Road. Cars are coming down pit road. I think our leader said he was coming down pit road.
Is it a fake, though? Could he possibly be waiting and trying to throw some other drivers off? As it looks like the 44 coming in, and so does the rest of the pack.
Oh, the 9-car coming in with such a head of steam.
Oh, no! Lucas Cram gets contact as well as others, and they're spinning on pit road as it's going to be the 52 others making contact. Lucas Cram as well as Hoff being involved in that one, as the rest of the field as well coming into the pits. But there is a pack that stays out, and in that pack is going to be Nick Olson. It's going to be Gingrich all by his lonesome, then the 38 as well as the 11 of Murphy and Nick Olson with himself with Spillman trying to catch up to that group. But carnage on pit road entry.
Now we're going to have to wait and see if Olson can make it. If he can make it if he can make it the whole way, we'll have to wait and see.
He has to win. I mean, at this point, right now, Nick Olson has to win this race and hope that Lucas Cram doesn't gain anything as drivers now coming to the pits again. And it looks like it's going to be Spillman and Olson still staying out. 2 laps to go for these drivers.
Yep, and they're running pretty good. Olson's got to tell Spillman to stay behind him.
I mean, they've put it. This is all in for them. That was their time to come into the pits. You can't come into the pits with the 1 lap on the white flag. You are staying out, and this is their plan. Nick Olson, Clint Spillman, they're staying out, but do they have the fuel to make it to the end? It's going to be close, but it looks like they are running low as they are slowing down.
I think Olson's out. Olson's out.
Nick Olson, Clint Spillman, they tried to go for another lap and a half, but they ran out, and they will not be able to make it. They're hoping they can coast to pit road, but the cars that are coming with a head of steam, as it looks like Derek Staples also ran out. They are still scattering all over the place.
Oh, this could be planned. Maybe he's not out. He's just slowing way down to try to. I see what he's doing. He's slowing way down. He's slowing way down so they can try to save gas that way and make it. You got Clint Spillman calling out how far back the leaders are to them before they have to start going again.
Less than 10 seconds is between Derek Staples, who's in 3rd place, and then behind them, you've got yourself the 5 of Manger, who's coming with a head of steam as they're slowly trying to get up to speed. It's going to be Staples who spins around and not able to finish this thing, as now they are still coasting 130 miles per hour they're going, and the difference at the moment between our leaders in 3rd place is 13.8 seconds, and it's slowly drifting away.
They're going.
A bold move from Nick Olson. He's trying to get as many points as possible to win this championship and to win today's race. The 24 machine and Clint Spillman of the 88, they had to try something different.
He's out. I think the 24 is out. He's telling Spillman to push.
They're out. The difference, it's 6 seconds. Here comes Kyle Manger in the 5 machine. Also Lucas Cram as they're coming across the line. It's looking like the 24 might be able to get it, but it's going to be the 5 and as well the 44. Kyle Manger gets the win.
Manger got the win. That was an incredible strategy.
200 feet. What's the difference between the 5 winning the race or the 24? And it was just that close. Also, the difference between 1st and 2nd, Lucas Cram almost stole that race away. 4 thousandths of a second between the 5 and the 44. Lucas Cram finishing 2nd. The championship goes to the 44, and a new winner of the season goes to the 5.
That was an absolute carnage fest, and it was an amazing attempt at strategy there.
It was so close.
I know he didn't finish top 3, but I want to talk to Nick Olson on that one.
coming across the line. This was the finale. That close. The 24 was so close and almost got the win. Bell gets spun across the line. But woo, those drivers trying everything that they could. And the 5 machine able to get it to burn it down here for the finale at Daytona 08. 200. And Michael, I mean, I'm still baffled at how that went down. Olsen tried. He ran out of fuel, and it was such a bold move. I think the issue might have been I don't know if he came in with when they were at 1 to go or if he pitted a lap earlier than that.
Yeah, but he tried. He definitely tried. That was absolutely incredible.
It wasn't from a lack of effort, that is for sure. As Manger got to burn it down, and now we'll be taking a look at our final results as just doing a quick rundown of these drivers. Kyle Manger getting his first win of the season. Lucas Cram getting second place, clinching his championship, and a great run for himself. Alex Bell being involved in our first accident of the day, able to get a third place finish. Colby Wells, who started on pit road, able to get a fourth place finish. Nick Olsen, Clint Spillman, they tried their best there at the end to try to save as much fuel, but we're just hundreds of feet away from getting the win. Brett Murphy, as well as the 38 of Sean Howells, as well as Stephen Galls and Robbie Lyons, your top 10.
All right, if you want to, our third place finishers in the waiting room. Sam, want to talk to them?
Now let's take a listen and chat with our third place finisher. Alex, it's Sam and Michael up in the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
I mean, that was a insane finish at the end. You saw drivers trying different strategies out, but for yourself, you got third place finish there. How was that final stretch?
Tell you what, man, I'm surprised we even made it that far. I thought we all died coming on the pit road there with like 3 laps to go. I got hit about 6 different times and somehow managed to keep it straight. Huge shout out to Nick Olsen. I can't believe he almost made that strategy work. He needed about 20 more ounces there for it to pull off. But there at the end, I was just working with Lucas, trying to make sure he did what he had to do to wrap up the championship there. But wasn't really expecting the top 3 finish today, man. We were caught up in the first wreck. My pedals broke halfway through the race, went a lap down, and went through a lot of adversity to get here, man. About to take a third place.
That makes complete sense. I was about to ask, though, it seemed like you were off in the middle part of this race, but that makes complete sense that you were, and that's impressive that you even came back. I mean, we've been seeing how you've been so aggressive at Talladega, here at Daytona during this legacy course. It's so hard to go 3 wide, and you're kind of notoriously known for the driver that's willing to go 3 wide. During this race, was there a potential thought of, if you had a chance to go for a win, was 3 wide your shot?
I tried 3 wide twice today, and both times I lost about 10 spots doing it. So I figured that probably wasn't going to work. It's just something about the bumpy surface, man. You can't make it 3 wide. You're going to bounce off the cars on the inside of you too much. But like I said, I never really thought we were in position for a podium or a win or anything. It's just we kind of played the fuel strategy right, and I'll take it. It was a good finish to the season.
No, Michael, you got a question here for Alex?
So we saw just how bumpy in the race, the racetrack and racing surface is up there. So how is it when you're behind somebody? I mean, from experience, I know just how hard it is to see in front of you to know where your truck's pointed, but especially on the inside line, just how difficult is it to maneuver the trucks around this bumpy racetrack?
Man, especially on corner exits, it's wild because, especially on the exit of 4, you hit like a bump, and from the cockpit, the car in front of you swings up 2 lanes, and you don't know if they're going to hit the guy on the outside of them, but you can't really force it underneath them because that's just how the line works. So it's difficult, man. Like I said, this is my least favorite plate track on Iracing, so it's not a fun time, I can tell you that much.
Well, Alex, you had a great season overall. You got into the playoffs. I know you wanted to go for a championship run, but still a solid run for your today for you. Before we let you go, though, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, so shout out to the entire SARG boys, man. I've been doing this with them for 4 seasons now. Don't have any plans to come back next season. I got a lot of real life stuff going on, getting married and moving and stuff. So this was probably my last foray of a full-time season, trying to win a championship. But I'm telling you, if anyone watching, this is one of the best leagues on iRacing, man, with some of the best group of guys. I've made a lot of friends in this league, so I appreciate each and every one of them. Shout out to Lucas on a hard-earned championship. I think he's won every championship in SARG history, so that says a lot about the timing driver he is. But shout out to you guys and all my partners. Thank you everyone so much.
That's Alex Bell, and Alex, congratulations on all your real life stuff that's going on. But you're on the virtual world, able to get a third place finish, a great season for yourself, and have a great rest of your night, man.
You too. You guys have an awesome night. Thank you.
Well, we're
Right.
now going to be bringing in our race winner of Kyle Manger here, and a great run for himself. Kyle, it's Sam and Michael up in the booth. You got us?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Well, that's probably one of the most different finishes we've had all season long. Still dramatic, and somehow you were able to pass that 24 machine. When you hit the white flag and you saw that they were still out there running, did you think there was any chance you were going to catch up to Clint Billman and Nick Olson?
Well, it was a unique way to end the season, that's for sure. In oddly intense at the same time, trying to catch them. I didn't think we were going to catch them in 3 and 4. I didn't know if they were coasting, if they had enough speed, and to be honest, I wasn't even focused on that. I was just trying to protect my line from Lucas. And when I crossed the line, I was honestly just as surprised as anyone that I got the win. So.
I mean, Kyle, you've been battling all season long. You've had a truck that had the potential of winning a race. You finally got it done here today. How does it feel just getting a win in this series and this season?
Feels great, man. We've raced hard all year long, and I've tried being up there with those guys to have a shot at a win, and just hasn't went my way on a couple races, and just missed out on the playoffs by a tie. So to end the year on a win on a high note going into next year, it going to carry some momentum into it.
And Michael, any questions you got?
And it was just strange watching you guys out there. You're running the high lane, low lane, switching back and forth. It was fun to watch and everything. And were you hoping for a caution at the end there to kind of even out the pit stops, or what was the plan those final 10 laps?
I liked my strategy. I started saving on the back half of that run to try taking less fuel, and it got me out ahead of those guys that pitted ahead of me. And I had a feeling that they weren't going to make it on fuel. So at that point, I was just hoping to get to the white and see what happens. And everything kind of worked out.
Well, Kyle, it's been a blast to watch you and the way that you've been going through the season. I know you didn't make playoffs, but still a solid way to finish out the season for yourself. Before we let you go, though, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, obviously some things haven't went my way, but I've had a blast racing here this year. And I can't thank Lucas, Robbie, you guys at Flatout Racing Network. It's been a great season for the league, and happy to be a part of it.
Let's Kyle Manger in the 5 machine able to get the win here today in the Daytona finale at Daytona 08 200. Congratulations. Have a great rest of your night, and good luck next season.
Thank you, guys. Merry Christmas.
And now we're going to be talking to our championship winner who finished in second place here today, Lucas Cram. Lucas, it's Sam and Michael up in the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir. I got you.
I mean, for those final 10 laps, it was really a toss-up of what was going to happen. We knew fuel was going to be close for a lot of the drivers. We weren't sure who was going to try to stretch it. But there, Nick tried to stretch it and tried to beat you out. How was that, though, the final couple of laps, with the stress of wondering if you were going to pass him or not?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty much just a race against Brandon, and didn't like I had the best race, I guess, up until then. It was kind of just hard to pass, and honestly, I felt pretty sick all night. So it was definitely a struggle, and trying to keep myself focused on the race, and I had to race really, really hard there, and did a lot of things that I normally wouldn't do, and really wish I didn't have to do, I guess. I kind of, just got boxed in there on the inside at the start of the second stage out and couldn't do anything, and then just had to force my way through people through up the middle to get to the front, and then it was just kind of a mess, and I just had to drive really hard, and then that pit stop there, that was the biggest key factor I knew, and I know Brandon's really aggressive always on pit road entry, and 95% of the time it always pays off for him, and I knew coming to the pit road there with all this pitting together, especially that he was going to be really aggressive, and so I saw him coming to the mirror, and so I kind of went a little bit harder than I would have normally, and then the next thing, the 20 was sliding there really deep and slid right into me and pushed me on the pit road and gave me a penalty. So, in that instance under our rule book, if you get crashed on the pit road and it's not your fault, obviously, then you can get a black flag clear. So I cleared my black flag and made sure I announced it and everything and got that settled. Still still just feels kind of weird because Brian got a speeding penalty there. He slid in there too far, and I got pushed on the pit road. So it just feels kind of weird the way that all went down, and definitely was not how I anticipated it going. But I guess in the grand scheme of things, surprisingly, Nick and Clint. I mean, that was incredible that they went that far. Who knew Daytona was going to be a fuel mileage race there, and they almost made it work. It's really they're getting really close there. So that was pretty crazy there for sure. And I was racing Menger there just for third and an extra point if need be. And all of a sudden, I heard Clint say on the radio that he ran out of gas, but I didn't know Nick ran out of gas. So I was kind of just trying to casually get by Kyle to get that extra spot. And then next thing I know, I saw both of them down there, and I tried to side draft Kyle to the finish line there. Couldn't quite get him. But yeah, definitely a lot to soak in there at the end.
Yeah, it certainly was an eventful night for you. I mean, you also had that during the first stage, you were left all by your lonesome coming into it looked like you were going to be by yourself, being so off sequence compared to everyone else. Was that a concern for you, seeing everyone come into the pits in that first stage and you were the only driver that did not pit?
Yeah, it's happened a few times this season. I knew that everybody was probably going to pit there. Unfortunately, honestly, I just felt really like I didn't think I'd be capable of actually putting on a pit road and into my pit box there. I wasn't too good. So I figured I was like, okay, well, we can't make it to the actual stage anyway on fuel. The only reason they were all pitting there is just that way they had less fuel to take under green and they could stay out longer. And so, most cases this season when that's happened, our guys will still pit together. They'll just pit a little bit earlier because at the plate tracks, short pitting doesn't hurt you at all. It actually helps you because if you pit together, as long as it's enough that's organized well enough, you can maintain speed with the lead pack, if not necessarily even go faster. And so then in that case, if a caution comes out, you actually leapfrog them because they all have to pit under caution. You can stay out and pass them. So I was kind of expecting us all to pit there, and unfortunately, only about half of us actually did. And luckily, there's that many people because it helped us at least not totally fall off the pack and go a lap down or anything. So that was nice to not have that, and I was able to get a couple stage points there. But definitely was not my choice for sure. I wish I could have done that differently and not been in that bind. But I guess it worked out for us in the end. So.
Yeah, and it certainly was. Michael, you got any questions here for Lucas?
I'll tell you something, Lucas. That was crazy to watch. You guys, the three championship contenders running nose to tail pretty much that entire race. And did it worry you at all whenever you when you finished ninth in the first stage, only getting 2 points when your other competitors finished first and third?
Oh yeah, for sure. I knew getting the pole there was going to be crucial, and it's only 1 point, but the 1 point can go so far. So I once I got that, I was pretty happy. And at that point, I was just trying to lead the most laps, and I just couldn't. I just didn't have the runs at the right times, and I hardly led any laps there. So I knew that Brandon was up front pretty much the entire race, and so I knew he probably got the most laps led, and so that's 3 bonus points. And so I'm trying to do the math in my head, and it's 2 weeks in a row, I kind of just had my hands tied, I guess, on the stages to finish ninth while Brandon got up there and got a bunch of points and Nick. So I knew it was going to be pretty difficult there in that front as far as trying to maintain what I had there. And honestly, I didn't think I would be able to make it back up because, that only a couple of points here and there. If I got beat by 2 or 3 spots by Brandon, it's over. So at that point, I just had to be super aggressive, and I know Nick had a lot of laps, so I was trying to make sure that Brandon didn't get the most laps led, and so I was trying to lead laps from him, and in case Nick was close enough to where Brandon didn't get it. So I raced Brandon way too aggressive, but it was pretty much what I had to do to try to maintain what I had there. So definitely came pretty close there until the whole pit stop thing happened. I'm sure he actually probably would have gotten me with how close it was, but worked in my favor there, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, we knew the aggression was going to have to come in. It was the final race. Points, championships were all on the line. But, Lucas, you got it done. And right now, we're going to give you the floor for any shout-outs.
Yeah, and a huge shout-out, of course, to be able to race this entire season. It was awesome to have the car accounts we did and bring in a lot of new people. We put out some awesome shows, and really appreciate you guys coming on board and broadcasting us this season. It's been a blast to have you guys with us this entire season. Hopefully, we look forward to more of that in the future. Huge shout out to Menger there getting that win. It was pretty cool to see him get the win here, as he actually pushed me to my first ever win in the series at the same racetrack in the truck. So it was pretty cool to see him get the win there. Huge shout out to everybody that that sponsored the season all season long, and a service. Huge shout out to them for sponsoring the entirety of the playoffs. They were a huge help in our funding and everything. Huge shout out, of course, to everybody in Discord with me and anybody who tuned in and watched tonight.
That's going to be Lucas Cram in the 44 machine, able to get second place here in the finale at Daytona 08 200. But overall, able to get the championship for the NS Service playoffs here for the SARG Superspeedway Series. Lucas, congratulations on the championship and a great run here today. And hopefully we'll be seeing you continue on with your amazing Superspeedway dominance and other series moving forward.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Have a good one.
Michael, it's been wild, it's been crazy, and that is how it comes to an end. Fuel mileage run at the end here at Daytona. You don't get to see it very often, but here in the SARG Superspeedway League, you get to see a multiple of different finishes, and I think that one probably tops most of the finishes we've seen all season long.
I absolutely agree. It was fun to watch, fun to be a part of, and I can't wait for the next season. It's going to be exciting.
It is going to be a blast for sure as we're starting our post-race wind down. Michael, it's been a blast to have you up in the booth with me here today, getting to make the call here for the finale to see Lucas Cram become and crowned our champion of this season. But overall, thank you, Michael, for being up in the booth.
No problem, Sam. It was fun. Definitely glad to be here.
It was a wild season of a lot of ups and downs for most of these drivers, but Lucas Cram seemed to be one of the most consistent up front. He gets the championship here for the NF Service playoffs for the SARG Superspeedway League, and it has been a blast to see so far. Congratulations to Lucas Cram and also Kyle Menger on getting his first win of the season, and what a time to get it at the finale. And for us at Flatout Racing Network, more racing action throughout the week. Tomorrow, we've got the RTG Talladega Challenge for the NR 2003 side of things. Then on the 18th on Friday, we have ourselves with the RTG Dirt Racing Series, where we're going to be seeing a lot of dirt action, cars going sideways, sliding all around. Then Saturday at noon Eastern Standard Time, we're going to be having a full 200 laps at the Indy 500 for the Dark Horse drivers. That is going to be a fun one to see for the Indy cars. That is going to be their finale to see who is going to be getting the win there. Nick DeGroot got the championship locked in last week. We'll see who is going to get the win. But for us tonight, thank you once again, Michael Norman, for being up in the booth with me. My name was Sam Dyer. Have a great rest of your night. Lucas Cram wins the championship here tonight. Kyle Menger gets the win here at Daytona. And have a great rest of your night. We'll see you next season.